Roll sound.
Speed.
Roll camera.
Speeding.
Slate.
Scene 1, take 1, mark.
And action. Hey everybody, how you doing? It's 2 o'clock on Friday. Burnie's Applebox. Here we are, and I'm with a very good friend, producer, Mr. Paul Maggetti.
How you doing, Burnie?
All right, very good, Paul. Thanks for coming in. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having
You're
me on.
a busy guy. I know. I've tried to get you in here a couple times,
I know
and you're working all the time.
That's the beauty of it, you know.
That's-
it's like when you can turn down Burnie's Applebox because somebody's willing to pay you.
Yeah, you know what?
I love you. I love you.
I'd love that offer myself,
Yeah.
frankly. That would be great. But no, thank you for coming in. And I wanted to have you on because we've known each other for quite a while. For a long time, I knew who you were before I had even met you. You know, and I had always heard about the great work you did and stuff. And then we met, and then we knew each other for a long time. I worked for you occasionally.
Yeah.
Now, in the last few years, I've been working for you more and more when the project allows and all that stuff. So it's been great, and we've done some fun stuff, and I know what great work you do. So I wanted all my people to hear your story, hear how you started, hear your philosophy, which I find on a lot of these shows is really the crux of what it makes a person good. You know, they have a philosophy that maybe doesn't even totally relate to the media business, but it's a personal philosophy about work ethic and the desire to make good products that I think is so much. Now, how long have you been in the business?
Started on August 23rd, 1989. Oddly enough, Keith Moon's birthday. Nobody knows why that's his birthday, but I started on his birthday.
Okay.
Yeah, so, started working in corporate television. Got myself an in-house job, and it was interesting because a couple of years before that, I'd graduated college, had my degree in theater and film, so I had really...
Where'd you go to college?
I went to Humboldt State University.
Okay,
So
all right.
I was unable to be a lumberjack in the truest sense there.
Yeah, I was going to say, you probably took horticulture up there, didn't you?
I wouldn't go that far. It was interesting because I got accepted to UCLA's film school.
Oh,
And my family thought I was crazy when I chose Humboldt. And my logic was, okay, for the rest of my life, I'm going to be in pavement, concrete, traffic, and smog. Why don't I get away for 4 years of something different? And I really went for the experience as a life experience more than the education. And the education was excellent, but what I learned outside of the campus, outside of the classroom, about a different way to live. I mean, I was born in South Jersey, moved to California when I was 7.
Okay.
And moved to Orange County when I was 17.
Okay.
So all I have ever known is, you know, kind of suburbia. Yeah. Kind of that classic Leave It to Beaver kind of thing.
So I can understand a little better now why you would have turned that down, because you were just thinking then I'm going to spend my whole life in Southern California and never live in another region.
Right. Yeah. So it turned out to be a great education and a great place to be. But once I got out of college, my wife, or Trish and I got married, and we were in LA trying to do the Hollywood Shuffle, trying to make it in Hollywood. And
this is like early 90s now? Is this 91, 92?
This is late 80s because our daughter was born January 1st, 1989.
Oh, okay.
And once we had a child, my wife and I looked at each other and said, we don't want to raise a kid in LA right now.
Changes your view of the world, right?
So you got to have a certain level of faith and understanding, I think, in where things are guiding you. And for some reason, the way things kind of played out, it didn't make sense to stay in LA with a child. My whole family was down in Orange County, and we wanted, our daughter to know her grandparents. We wanted to have that family connection. And so we moved down to Orange County, and I got a real job, which is a horrible thing. Don't do that ever.
An actual 9-to-5 job.
I did.
What were you doing?
I was following in the footsteps of my father,
okay,
who was a life insurance salesman.
Okay.
I got my license, and I started selling life insurance.
Wow.
Miserable.
See, I never knew that.
Yeah, it's
I
horrible.
never knew that about you. You never tell anybody
No,
about that.
no. So it's 12 months of a contract with Metropolitan Life, and it just wasn't for me.
And you were done.
Yeah, it just wasn't my cup of tea. But the big part about that job is you're cold calling. You're just calling people about, hey, I'm Paul with Metropolitan. You want to buy some insurance?
Yeah.
And one dude couldn't tell me no. I called him up. He's like, yeah, no, I'm not. He started hemming and hawing. I go, well, listen, let's set an appointment. Let's get together. he goes, I can't, my schedule's at work. I said, oh, what's your work number, right? You got to be a salesman. You got to keep asking. So I said, what's your work number? He gives it to me. The next day I call him at work, and he answers the phone. Video, this is Ron. I'm like, Ron, this is Paul from Metropolitan. What do you mean video? This is Ron. Do you need an assistant? That was my first. So my sales pitch wasn't life insurance. It was, do you
no
need
longer
assistant?
He was a client.
Oh, yeah. This was a door.
Potential employer.
Yeah. And he goes, as a matter of fact, yes, we're hiring an assistant. Do you have any experience?
Oh, I love it.
And so, ding, 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 ding. Next thing you know, he's hired me. 2 years later, he moves on, and I'm running the department.
Oh, my gosh. So let me ask you this. What company was it? Is the company still in business?
They're not here anymore. They were a Japanese automotive parts company.
Okay.
And so that's kind of why I have a big, strong foothold in the automotive industry.
Sure.
Because starting in '89 is when I started working for a supplier to Nissan.
Okay.
So we started doing tons of work with Nissan, and then local to Irvine was Mazda, and then Kawasaki, and so you just in Mitsubishi. It's like so little by little, I just got thrust into this situation where that was my market.
Yeah.
And I've always loved cars, so it wasn't like a stretch. It wasn't.
Right. No, it's a pretty natural,
natural
progression there.
It was.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's great. So now, and are you still in touch with that guy, or is it dropped off over the years?
We talk occasionally, and he's voiced to me that he's a little sad seeing where I've gone, which is the direction he wanted to go,
right,
and where he's gone, which is not
the direction.
He's not in production. He's just got a job.
Yeah. You know what? That's really funny too about that stretch, because a lot of times you're successful. I think I'm very fortunate to have been successful. In my world, it's really hard. There's so many little decisions along the way that if you would have made the wrong choice on any one of those little decisions, it can send you off like a pinball, in the machine, and you never recover. So that is really good.
Well, here's the thing that's interesting. So I have great faith in God.
Yeah.
And I was praying like mad while I had this job. I'm like, I want to start my own company.
Yeah.
I want to go out and make this company my own. But I've got an employer, so I've got a salary.
Yeah.
I've got benefits.
Right.
And at that point, we had 2 kids at home, a mortgage, and 2 car payments.
Now the choice is much more serious, right?
So it's not this frivolous, hey, let's roll the dice and see if it works.
Right.
And so I was just praying. I'm like, God, give me a sign. Should I go out on my own? Should I leave this job?
Yeah.
And one day my phone rings at the office and they say, hey, Paul, can you come into Human Resources? And they said, yeah, Paul, we no longer need you.
Really?
And so I said, God, I got that sign. It was subtle, but I figured it out. And
did you go in there and say, hallelujah?
I had a mini heart attack, and then I went, okay, now we're going to kick some ass. I mean, you don't have a chance. You have a choice between,
well, look,
it's not sink or swim. It's swim or swim.
Right.
You got 2 kids at home. You got you got to feed.
You got to do it. You got to do it. Yeah. And so again, you did that out of the blue.
Right.
And did you think just immediately then I'm starting my own company and I'm talking to people about getting work? Yeah. Tell me about that process then. When you did it, because this is what I think a lot of people miss. There's a lot of people I'm talking to who are always entering the business, And, I have Onset University, and that is what that is all about. Right. That is about holding on to the bottom rung long enough to create a footprint for yourself that is going to sustain you for a few years, How did you handle that?
Well, I think the key is, being in that swim or swim mentality where I had to succeed. This is even crazier. I had just gone on The Price is Right. Okay.
The Price is Right.
The Price is Right. Bob Barker, Price is Right. And I end up winning a curio cabinet, which got me on stage to spin the wheel. I won the wheel, and then I went to the Showcase Showdown. In the Showcase Showdown, I won. It was the communication and transportation package, right?
Oh, wow.
So that showcase included a CB radio, which I didn't have a lot of use for. A cell phone, which at the time...
A cell phone?
Yeah, which was 1994. A cell phone, a computer, and, in the greatest words you want to hear on a game show, a new car! Dun, 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 dun. Okay, so I ended up winning everything I needed to start a business.
Unbelievable,
I had a free car, I had a cell phone, I had a computer. Yeah. I was off to the races.
That's incredible. Well, God was still talking to you
God,
then.
God
got you door number 3 or whatever it is out there. Yeah.
God's been just giving me little pushes here and there.
Unbelievable.
And I remember vividly, so scared about money that I didn't activate the phone because I didn't think we could afford it. Okay, because the phone, that
Really?
self-service
No, they're
service
very
was
expensive
very
back
expensive.
then. Yeah.
I remember vividly driving down the 405 in the Mustang, my pager going off and looking at a number, and I'm like, ooh, I think this is a good one. Having to pull off the freeway and find a payphone, right?
Yeah.
And at that point, I realized I got to bite the bullet and activate this
Yeah.
cell phone. You know,
Yeah.
God gave me a free cell phone. The least I
Right.
could do.
He wants you to use it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
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 And you just start talking to people. You talk to anybody you can.
Yeah.
You just tell them who you are, what you can do, and when they say what's your rate, you freeze.
Yeah.
Because I had come from a salary. I had no idea
Right.
what my rate was.
That's a very tough one,
Yeah.
figuring out those dollars.
Yeah. And so I just talked to other people, and I said, you know, what is a reasonable rate for a guy like me who I had 5.5 years experience at this corporate job.
Right.
I was new to freelance.
And you had actually done production. I mean,
oh,
you
yeah.
had planned, gone out. You knew the process.
Right.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so for 5.5 years, I was at this in-house corporate video department. And the beauty of it was, because they were Japanese, they were really big on training.
Yes.
So every year I had between $1,200 and $1,500 in training budget that I had to spend. And I would book a week at the American Film Institute and take a week's worth of lighting, a week's worth of camera,
that's
a week's worth of
great.
editing. So every year I was getting new and better training, all at AFI.
Yeah.
And all
That's
on their
great.
dime.
That's
So
great.
I came out far more prepared.
You worked it very well
Yeah.
for having that position. Yeah.
Yeah, because coming straight out of school, if I'd had to try to make it,
Oh, that's tough.
That would be
That's
really
so tough.
Yeah.
That's so tough. You see so many people struggle with that. And you know, I have probably in some ways been unfairly critical of film schools, but there is a lot that they could teach that I think would make a big difference in most graduates' life that they don't teach. And that's
Well-
all I'll say about
well,
it.
but
you know.
consider any degree. So my degree was in theater and film.
Okay.
Right, so I was studying what I wanted to do for a living, and you know, and I was fortunate enough to actually get to do what I loved and what I studied. But if you have a degree in, you know, anything, if it's in English, if it's in, you know, business or whatever, nobody tells you about the realities of trying to get a job.
Yeah.
They talk about the theory, they talk about philosophy, they talk about things that are good to know.
Yes.
But when I went to school, I was told, you want to work in film, you go to LA. You want to work in theater, you go to New York.
Oh, yeah.
And that's
there were
it.
two choices.
Nobody said there was a thing out there called corporate television.
Yeah.
And I had no clue. When I got my job, I didn't know that job was even an option. And once I realized that there's an entire world of non-broadcast television that you can make a living and a career out of, I was like, this is cool.
Well, you know what? I'll tell you, you bring up something that is so, and let me ask you what your feelings are on this, because a lot of people, I'm from Tacoma, Washington. That's where majority of friends are. Oh, what movies have you worked on?
Right,
That's
right,
what they
right.
always do. What
Yeah.
TV show have you been on?
Yeah.
Have you met a movie star? I mean, just that very typical surfacey stuff.
Sure.
And my answer is always to them, I go, I don't work TV shows. I've done a couple movies.
Yeah.
I've met a lot of celebrities.
Right.
But I don't go out of my way to meet them.
Right, and you're not bellying up to the bar with them going, hey,
No,
how's
I'm
it
not,
going,
hey,
George
guy,
Clooney,
what a
dude?"
day on set. Yeah. No, nothing like that.
Yeah.
And what I tell people, and I'd like your take on this, I usually use the ratio of for every 1 hour of entertainment made, there is at a minimum of 10 hours of informational training, documentary, video made, and I think it's much higher than a 1 to 10 ratio. I'd say it's maybe a 1 to 100 ratio. Give me your thoughts. And here you graduated from college and didn't even know it existed. That's mind-boggling.
Yeah, it's a silent market that nobody knows is out there until, for some reason, you get the keys to the kingdom and you see, like, oh my gosh, I can do this. I can do this in a comfortable place. I mean, for me, I get to work directly with the clients, and most of the clients, I mean, they're all fantastic, but most of them have great trust in what I can do.
Yes.
And so it gives me and my team a ton of creative control, which I don't think I would get if I was working on a TV show, if I was working on a feature film, right? I mean, there's a handful of guys who have
You and I
complete-
both know that's the absolute truth.
Right.
Yeah.
And so creatively, as far as satisfaction goes, it's so nice because I can, sit down and think creatively. What do I want to do? What's my concept here? What do I want to? How do I want to get the company's message to the company's audience? And I'm a conduit, and I want to just take, I want to distill their ideas down to their cleanest and purest form, and then I want to make it as engaging as possible.
Right.
And when I come to them with the idea, they usually bite. I mean, they're very happy with what we have.
Right.
It might not be the finished product. It might now turn into a little session where we all talk.
Sure.
And their input makes my input better. And then I can hear their input, and we can build on top of it.
Yes.
And it becomes a very nice
And
community.
get a better product out of the whole thing.
Everything becomes refined.
And I know, Paul, watching you work, because we've worked together so many times, I do know you bring that to the table.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's one of the things that is so hugely important with our business, because the people that go to the top and then stay there are the people that care about every individual shoot. They're not just phoning it in.
Right.
They don't just have one piece of equipment they can bring and they need that and they go there. They're just like you. I've watched you in the field. I've watched you have problems doing something, thinking on the spot. You're taking all that information in and you're making a decision or a change that's consistent with the rest of the piece.
Right.
And there's a thought process. Whether the clients understand what you're doing or not almost doesn't matter, because their end result continuously is great product.
And that's, I mean, I don't want to say that's all that matters, because the process is part of the journey. And I've been in situations, especially early in my career, before I sort of, met you and met, the guys I go to all the time. You're kind of like, well, who do you use? Can you guys recommend somebody? And so you're
at the mercy.
Exactly. And I brought in a DP, and his reputation was as high as it could be. His quality, his creativity, his talent, it was off the charts. As a human being, I never wanted to be with him again in any space. I mean, isn't that horrible?
I've been with a few DPs like that.
Exactly. Everything I asked him, and I was green. I was very new. Okay, and everything I said, can we do? He would look at me and go, no. And I would, no, and then silence. I'm like, he's not even coming up with it's like another option. Hey, give me something. And finally, some of the lower people on the crew were like, well, we could do this, this, and this. And he's like, yeah, I guess you could. And I thought,
so just attitude.
Oh my gosh, man. So my point is, the final product is very important. It has to be as good as it can be. But the process is going to be something that makes your clients want to come back and work with you over and over. But, for years I've been into really nice sound systems, home theaters and stereos and things like that. When I was first learning about them, it's like you go into Cal Stereo or, these stores that are no longer in business. And say, okay, should I spend all my money on the amplifier, or do you think I should spend it on the speakers? But then the turntable, how about the cassette tape? And the guy looks at me, he's like, dude, the weakest link in this chain is going to take it all down. They all have to be the highest level.
Top level.
Whatever you can afford, buy the best and everything.
That's right.
So when you're in production and you sit down for a creative meeting, you're in a conference room with a client, that is right there. That's important. Because that's where you're going to kick it off. If you're just an order taker, if you're just a waiter and you walk up and you say, would you like the ham and eggs? Okay, that's good. But they want you to say, what if we add this and this, and how about if we put in this extra spice? And all of a sudden, they thought of a dish they wanted to order, but you made that dish that much better.
Even better.
But now you got to cook it.
So
you can't just come up with something and not deliver. So again, you got that beginning, middle, and end. You've got to hit on all cylinders. And when it's all done, if you've done your job and you haven't been a jerk, and the price was right, you got to continue. You got an ongoing relationship.
Because I'm sure this happens. What if you have this great idea, you're in love with it, and you got it all figured out? And I know you do. I know you do. By the time you get it, you know how much it's going to cost you, what you're going to bill for it, and all that. And they just blow it out of the water. And just like this DP, there's nothing coming back at you. How do you handle that situation?
It's probably one of the biggest challenges. And the thing that, if I go back to the analogy of the high school dance. You got the boys on this side of the basketball court, the girls here, and the band's over there. And you got to walk across and ask that girl to dance. She says, no, you got to walk back alone. And there's only so many times you can ask the same girl to dance, and you realize she doesn't want to dance with me. And there will be clients that you start off with, and you work with, and it's just not a fit. And it doesn't mean you're bad, it doesn't mean they're bad, it just means they didn't want to dance with you. And there's certain things you can't win. And you have to be smart enough to say, okay, where do I go from here? Do I try to, do I buy her flowers? Do I buy her candy? Do I take her to the drive-in? Do I do all these things to try to still charm her, or do I just give in? And say, you know what, it's time to move on. I'll find somebody else. And you'll find people who want to dance with you every time.
That's right.
They're the ones you want to be with.
tell me this, well, you know what, I think we're going to go to a break now. I got one for you when we come back, so we're going to be right back, and we will see you in a moment. Hi, I'm Burnie. I own Burnie's Grip and Lighting, San Diego Grip and Lighting, and Los Angeles Grip and Lighting. You know, we pride ourselves on not only renting you the best equipment, but also giving you the best crews. And one of our core values here at Burnie's Grip and Lighting is that we give you the highest production value in the world. And remember, people used to say national, local. No, we present world-class production value on every set. We also know budgets are very tight these days, and you've got 10 hours to get what you need in the can. We move ahead, we move fast, and we know what you need. When you rent from Burnie's Grip and Lighting, you have a partner on your production for that day that is making sure you are well taken care of. So anytime you're in Southern California, give us a call at 714-609-3545, and we'll take very good care of you. See you on set. Hey, we're back here with Paul Maggetti. Paul, welcome back.
Thank you, sir.
And we were just talking about clients and client relationships when you're a producer, and I know that's such a big thing. You know, it's such a big thing. You know, I want to talk about client longevity for one thing, but also how do you qualify a client? You know, because you've got to know, like, you get up to a certain level of work that you're doing. You don't want to go back down to sort of the beginner level and a lower budget on it. Tell me how you qualify.
Or do you?
Well, you tell me.
See, here's the thing. If you've got a client who is a valuable client, and it's a good relationship, and the work you're doing is excellent, and they're comfortable, they're financially healthy, they can pay you, you know, the right amount so that you as a company are financially healthy, it's just a great relationship.
Right.
And something comes through that's maybe too small. Right.
Now, this is from the same client.
Exactly.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. So do you want to say to that client, yeah, no, I don't want to do that. That one's a little below me? No.
No, you'd never do that.
Because this is kind of, it's
an ongoing relationship.
It's an ongoing relationship, but it's also an all or nothing kind of thing.
Yeah.
You want to be their vendor for everything they need that falls under into your scope.
Right.
And so you just want to do everything. Another client may come in and all they have is this low-level stuff.
Yeah.
And you know what? I hate to say it, you don't turn it down.
Yeah.
Because, A, that client itself may grow and become bigger and do better work, or that person may leave that company and go to a new company in a higher position, and then they've got more purchasing power, and they've got more budget, and they've got more of an opportunity for you to grow with them. They now know you, they trust you, you've proven yourself to them.
Right.
So when they go to the new company with the new position, they don't want to roll the dice on a new company that they've never worked with, you know, a new vendor.
Yes.
But they go, oh yeah, Maggetti, yeah, we used them over there. Oh, let's bring in Maggetti.
So that's what you're doing is you're bringing in anybody who wants to come in. If you can make the job work and work for you, because you have to make a profit.
Exactly.
On it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Then you'll bring them in and you'll make that happen, and you're still doing that today.
In fact, it just happened this week.
Okay.
I got a call out of the blue from a company that seems to me to be a great opportunity down the road. And when we talked on the phone, she said to me, this may not be big enough for you to do, but if you want to talk about it, let's talk about it. I'd love to talk about it.
Yeah.
And the project, I mean, I'm not going to, retire to the Bahamas
on
this project.
Right.
But it's work. I like work.
Yeah.
It's a new group of people that I'll get to meet. They'll get to know us and our company and how we do work. So
yeah,
no bad can come from it.
Yes.
I told her, I said, if we go and do this and you don't love working with Maggetti Productions, that's okay.
Yeah.
I said, but if you do and we can develop that relationship, I said, we want to get into a situation where we're your go-to guy because, and then she finishes my sentence, then you'll know our company, our culture, and there will be a shorthand for us to accomplish our goals.
Bingo.
I said, exactly.
Touchdown.
Yeah.
Touchdown.
So she got it and I got it. So she was aware it wasn't a really big project. I was aware as well. But
and you mentioned something in there that I have always found has really benefited me, and I refer to them as cluster bomb clients. And what that is, with a very, not a nice, I guess, term, but you know, when a production company, say, blows up or does it, you have 5 people that go to 5 different other production companies. You know, I've got all those cluster bomb clients now in their 3rd generation. You know, somebody that is telling their new company about me, they're bringing me in, we're doing projects. And that is another thing. I mean, that alone accounts for a lot of longevity. Oh, yeah. But the first thing is you have to do the quality of work. Oh. Because that new person is not going to refer you if they've had a but that one shoot didn't go so well, they had the bad DP or whatever, you know what I mean? So that's a really big one.
But then the flip side of that is if you have a long-term ongoing relationship with a client and something does go weird somewhere, and it truly is like an act of God, you know, kind of thing that you couldn't control.
An anomaly.
But it goes wrong. If that was your first contract with them, that's your last.
Yeah.
But if it's your 15th out of eternity, they'll catch you some slack. Hey, Paul, you've always been good to us. You've done a great job. We know that was a weird deal. Yeah. You know, let's just keep going on.
Right.
And so that relationship to me is everything.
Right.
Is meeting, knowing, and getting, for lack of a better term, intimate with your client and their business. Right. Yeah. To really be a part of their team and to know their history. Yeah. I mean, I have a client that I started in 1998. So next year will be 20 years that we've been with them. Wow! And you know,
I know who you're. I know
you
you're talking
exactly
about.
Yeah. And I've been as a vendor with them longer than some of their own employees. Incredible. So they come to me and say, "So Paul, you know, back in 2005, we did this thing. Do you have that? You know?" Yeah. I mean, I become the gatekeeper of all their media.
Incredible.
Because they've got turnover, but we're not turning over. The company, our company as a vendor, is strong.
Yeah, that's so great. That's so great.
Yeah.
You know, and I think we've got some pieces. It'd probably be a good time to show some pieces that we've got. I don't know. What do we have up first? I know you and Hunter were talking.
Yeah, let's look at the Be the Radical.
Oh yeah,
video.
And I need to say something here. Facebook is not very friendly when it comes to playing licensed music on it. Now, all of this music is totally legally licensed for these pieces. Facebook may not know that. If for some reason they shut us down, and that means the stream will drop, we will pick the stream right back up. You'll have to go to the new stream, but we will be right back. So if that does happen for any chance, and we're going to be very careful, probably not even play too much music, but I just wanted to let you know that's what's happening.
Yeah.
So
and this first one we're going to watch is an interesting one because it's very. I've referred to it earlier today that the client came to us and said, okay, now we need to do an opening video for our software user conference, or it was actually their global sales and marketing conference, and they kind of knew what they wanted, and that was something exciting. Okay, so
that was the description.
Yeah, it really needs to be something exciting that's really going to really kick off the meeting. Yeah. But nothing specific. Yeah. And we've been doing their opening videos for years and years and years. So we have a
you have a history.
We have a long history. Yeah. But what I didn't want to do is do what we've always done. They've always been great. But after a while, vanilla Swiss almond is my favorite ice cream.
Me too.
But if I have it every day, I might want to try something else.
Right.
So I wanted a new flavor. And so I just started scouring the web for inspiration. And I mean, that may sound like cheating, but there's some great talent out there in the world, and they're doing some great work. And sometimes you just need to keep your eyes open, and you need to be exposed to new things coming in. And I found a piece that Alfa Romeo had done, which was a very non-traditional car spot. And it barely showed a car, but it was all energy. It was like a free verse sort of slam poem. And so I pitched him on it. I go, I think I'd like to do something similar to this. And I showed them the clip. I didn't pretend that it came out of the blue into my magical brain.
You're a genius.
Yeah, but here's what I've seen that I think is cool.
Right.
Do you want to go down this road? And they're like, yes, we like this. We like this a lot. And at that point, every one of them seemed to have hands off on me and just let me do it. And, and so we just came up with the concept. And this is the piece. If you're ready, go ahead and roll it in.
Yeah, let's take a look, Hunter. Now this, and we're doing this without sound right here. Okay, yeah, we're doing this without sound. So So he's coming down and he's just laying this piece on
Yeah,
you.
so he's got the slam poem, and with
Yeah.
audio, it's probably a little weaker than it would be with the music and the
Yes,
poem,
yeah.
but that's okay. But you can see, I mean, for corporate America to open up a
Right,
sales and marketing
very,
conference
very
with
non-traditional.
a very edgy, urban sort of feel, you know, an industrial, broken down building.
Yeah.
You know, we put all kinds of texture mapped on the background, so you can
Yes.
see on the bricks behind him some of the words that he's saying in the poem are
Yes.
appearing on the walls behind him, and it's a very different sort of approach.
Yes.
And when we finally got it to the level where we could show it to the client for an approval, everything we got back was positive, to the point where the global marketing director said, "This is so young and hip, it might even be too hip for us." But they greenlit it and they showed it, and it got a ton of reactions. And that's not always a positive reaction. Some people hated it.
Yeah.
But that's okay, because
Yeah.
the last thing you want to do is do a piece of work where nobody even notices
They
it.
didn't feel it.
They don't
Yeah.
remember it.
Yeah.
It doesn't affect them.
Yeah.
So granted, we're probably like 80% positive and probably like, 10% negative, and then 10% they were just on their phones.
Yeah,
They
right,
weren't
right,
even
right,
looking.
right.
But it's one of those things where we got to take a chance.
Yes.
We got to do something different.
Right.
And you were on that. You had your whole team there.
We had the team. We
Yeah.
were lighting interiors of the warehouse.
Mm-hmm.
It looks great. It looks
Yeah,
great,
thank
and
you,
that is,
thank you.
and I was surprised when we were doing what we were doing for what we were doing it for.
Yeah,
In other words,
yeah.
that is like,
It didn't
wow, this
feel
isn't
like
a
a corporate
convention
video.
opener.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
But
the thing I want to say about that project, which I think is really important to understand, is because I wear the hats of producer and director, I have to set things in place, which includes calling Burnie Grip and Lighting and getting you and your team in place. I got Hilaire Brosio on the Steadicam.
Yeah.
I got Chad McClellan
Chad,
on the
yeah.
second camera.
Yeah.
I got everybody in the background doing all the work there is to do.
Nick Brandstetter was on there.
Nick was
Yeah.
there. And when we got there, my talent really didn't have his lines down. And he wasn't off book, and I was concerned.
Yeah,
And his performance wasn't where it needed to be.
yeah,
And because as a producer, I'd put the pieces in place of your team and all the rest of my crew and everybody, absolute professionals, talented,
Yeah.
self-driven people,
Right.
I could take off my producer hat, let you guys do what you had to do, put on my director hat, and just work with talent.
yeah.
And you saw it. It
Oh,
took some
I
work.
was there. Yeah, yeah.
In the end, the performance I thought was great.
Yeah, yeah.
But
No, the end piece
yeah.
I think came out like you wanted it.
Yeah,
to.
it did.
Yeah,
It did.
yeah.
But
I remember that.
Yeah, but if you can trust your team to do what they do and not micromanage them. I remember at one point, this is a great line. You looked at me and said, "So Paul, what are you thinking back here?" And we kind of decided what the shot would be,
Yeah.
and you were just starting to light it. And I go, I'm going to leave that to you, Burnie, because, you've got the genius of how to light this. And you looked at me and you said, "Paul, it's so much easier when you just tell me what you want."
Yeah. Why do I have to do all the thinking?
So yeah, I made you think.
Yeah, that's good.
But you could see
But,
it paid
well,
off.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the softball you really lobbed me. I couldn't go wrong in a warehouse like that.
yeah.
That's really the thing. Now it's minimalist lighting.
I
You know what I mean? It's letting you see those shafts of light, how the light plays, and if that's really what sold it, because the
texture of the environment
texture of
was
the
so
environment,
intense. Yeah.
Oh, it was. I remember there was one time we lit him when he was sitting down, and that was a happy accident.
Oh, yeah.
I had a bounce light for the guys to work. He sits down on this one ledge, and we both look at him, and I go, "Well, what do you want here?" And I think we're looking pretty good, you know.
And we hadn't even blocked him to sit.
No,
he
he
was
just
sitting
sat
down reading
there.
his lines. Yeah.
He just sat there.
And I'm like, "There's our shot."
There's it.
And
There
you're like,
it is.
"Okay," and you
Yeah.
made a tweak or something, and
Yeah.
we were done.
And that was strictly a work light bounce
Yeah.
that he was using there. So that worked out fun. And of course, in a building like that, then you've got the shafts. They do things you could put the light through and make some cool
Well,
shadows.
the thing about that situation was you can be as prepared as you should be. I mean, never not be prepared.
Right.
But you also need to be open to those happy accidents. You
Yes.
need to be open to those moments where you're improvising.
Yes.
And,
yes.
and in fact, in a lot of the footage that's coming through there on the opening, we're Steadicam all the way through.
Yeah.
And I didn't think our second camera, where Chad was running the handheld, I didn't think I was going to use anything of
Yeah.
his. He goes, "Let me just follow you, and I'll just shoot."
Yeah.
And
so
it made the cut. It's stuff I hadn't seen that Chad had the quality, the talent, and the vision
Yeah.
to say, "I'm just going to roll on this."
yeah.
And it
Yeah.
just, and once we got into the edit bay, we had more material to draw from.
Yeah.
And it just added
So
to the whole
awesome.
thing. Yeah.
So awesome.
And I think we've got a little behind the scenes
yeah, let's
shot
do the
of us
behind the
doing
scenes.
this.
Let's do that. Hunter, you got that ready? Awesome. Yeah, here we are.
Yeah. So your team was kind of out of this shot. So we have more people in the crew than what you see, but Burnie and his team were lighting the interiors. We were blessed with God's biggest silk. On a nice cloudy day.
that was a. But remember, we were next to the pound. Remember that?
I know.
We're next to the pound. We got audio, and these dogs are barking.
Oh my God.
I don't mean a dog barking.
Yeah.
I mean like 50 dogs
Yeah,
barking.
it was nuts. The last time I had shot at this studio, there was not a pound. It was brand new, so it came to me as a surprise, and it was like adopt a puppy day. So every dog was
It was,
barking.
and all the people were. It was
yeah.
on a Saturday.
Yeah.
So a lot of people
It
were
was,
coming in to
yeah.
adopt animals and that sort of thing. And ironically, and I guess it's probably because it closed, and of course this is the production law, right?
Right.
At 5 o'clock when they closed the doors, all the dogs stopped barking.
And we
we
had
were
to wrap.
done. We're wrapped.
Yeah.
It's
the way it
crazy,
goes.
crazy,
Yep.
dude, crazy. So, and I think we've got a couple other pieces here too, Hunter. Let's see what we got. What do we have here, Paul?
Yeah,
Ride the wave.
yeah.
No, let's do that. Ride the wave if
Okay.
we can.
Yeah.
Let's do the waves because this brings up something that I'm always curious about. Now, we're not playing the audio here for obvious reasons because we could get shut down by Facebook. But I'm looking at this, and now you said this is a combination of things you shot and you bought stock.
Right,
Tell us
right.
what you shot and what stock.
Well, just about everything that's the pipeline in Hawaii is stock.
is-
So all
yeah.
these really awesome big waves,
Yeah.
you know, these GoPro mounted things with surfers who are doing unbelievable work. This stuff all came off of stock. So we counted on that. Then
Yeah.
once we kind of segue out of this opening bit, we've got pieces. I actually did go down to Laguna and I shot a lot of surfing down there.
Right.
Shot some
So like
transitional
this.
elements. Yeah, these guys
Yeah.
right here. I was right off
Yeah.
the point, right on Heisler Park where the
Yep.
American flag is.
Sure.
That was all that. So this is a local Laguna surfer.
Okay.
You know, lots of cool stuff that we just kind of either had in our arsenal that I'd already shot
Yeah.
or that I went out to shoot specific for this.
Yeah.
This is a little drone shot over here that came off the
Nice.
cliff. Nice stuff. You find that as a producer, you want to look at delivering the best thing you can for your
Right.
client, but you also want to make it economically feasible for them because no matter where your budget is,
How about
it's
this? Did you shoot
finite.
this?
No, that's actually stock,
that's
which
stock.
is really interesting.
Yeah.
So what we did was, you know, we came up with our concept. We said, well, how can we deliver this and not blow, you know, because if you come up with a number that they're not going to swallow.
No, you kill yourself.
And your
yeah.
concepts don't matter.
Yeah,
If
right.
you're creative is awesome, but nobody wants to pay
To buy-
for it.
pay
Yeah.
for it.
Then-
You don't
then you're
have
sunk.
much, yeah.
Yeah. So you get into a situation where you just have to play the best angle for yourself. And a lot of this came out of stock. And it worked out really well.
So that decision between shooting it yourself and stock.
See that I shot in Laguna?
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
This Laguna.
2 shots ago.
Okay.
Yep.
And so that decision is an economic one almost. Like
Yeah.
I've got to go stock because I can manage my cost and get these excellent shots.
Right,
You know,
right.
and then I can fill in with my other stuff and still make the budget work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the key because, you know, we could have said we need to fly to Hawaii, we need to go to Pipeline, and we need to go
I
and
need a
shoot.
crew of
Yeah,
30.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And I easily could have said, as a producer, this is what we have to do, but
Yeah.
they wouldn't have said go.
Yeah.
And you have to get the go. If you don't get the green light, you haven't done your
You
job.
haven't done anything.
Right?
Yes.
So
yes,
that's the
very
idea.
Good, very, very good point.
And so
Very
this
good point.
this was
Because this is just fun stuff to watch.
It is,
Anyway,
it is.
yeah.
So this was an opening video for Boston Scientific's national sales meeting.
Okay.
And so their theme that we developed with them was Ride the Wave. And so we came up with this surf-themed idea. And it really resonated with the people because we talked about how, you know, to be ready to ride a wave means you've got to have your physical fitness, your mental
Sure.
fitness, the right gear to do it in, and everything's got to be in line. But if the water's flat, you can't surf.
Yes.
But when the waves are pumping, you've got to be ready.
You're ready.
Yeah.
You're ready.
And you can't dictate when the waves will be right.
Right.
And so from a sales meeting perspective, we were giving the message of you've got to have everything in line because
Prepare.
right now the market is changing and the waves are starting to get big.
Yeah.
And once they're ready and you're not, we're done. But
Yeah.
if you're prepared, we're going to sail through it.
Yeah. Very good.
So, yeah,
very
so-
good. I love that. I
Yeah.
love that. And you're pitching that idea directly to your clients.
Exactly,
And stuff.
exactly.
Yeah. I know Boston Scientific because I've worked a couple of those
Yeah.
with you, and they're so fun. You made one, and I wished we could have shown it, but it was a CEO, and it was a gag. It was a gag on the CEO. It was hilarious just when we were shooting it, you know. But that's for another day.
Yeah,
That's for
and
another
they
day.
enjoy the sense of humor,
Yeah.
and it humanizes their president, which is really nice.
Yeah.
It makes him
He
approachable.
was a very special person.
Yes.
He was a very,
Yes.
very great guy.
Yeah,
You know, you see a lot of CEOs. Most of them are very nice. This guy was very genuine.
Yeah,
It was a lot of fun. And, you know, doing that too, and this is, we probably don't have pictures. Maybe we do. I don't think we have anything on it. But we shot 3D. A 3D
we
shoot.
did.
And
That's
that was something that was so out of left field for me because I've done a lot of things on corporate shoots. However, I had never done a 3D shoot for a corporate client, which is almost like it doesn't even make sense. You know?
It's an interesting thing because the president is the one who kind of got behind the idea, and he just thought 3D would be the best way to really engage and immerse his audience into this video.
Yeah.
And what we were doing was, it was really a process video that showed how they manufactured their medical devices. And so we had two red 5K cameras, one shooting down, one shooting forward, going through a prism, taken just off axis. I had a 3D tech from Hollywood who was one of the best out there, and he managed all that for me.
Yeah, that was really fun.
Oh my
It was
gosh.
fun talking to him and working with
And
him.
we're watching on a 3D monitor, wearing our 3D glasses,
Yeah.
and I mean, you're like falling into the image. It's so rich, it's so deep, and it's just, it blows
I
me
wish
away.
I could have seen the final project, but like most of the things I do, I don't see 98%
No, I
of them,
know.
you know, when they're done.
Yeah.
You know, we're going to take another quick break here, but we'll be right back.
Burnie's workshop is fantastic. Burnie's workshop is awesome. Burnie's workshop is insightful.
Burnie, in one word, passionate maybe. You can tell he really cares a lot.
Burnie is a badass.
He's a great teacher. He has great stories, and I would recommend this to anyone. Not only someone like me who's starting day one, but you know, I feel that in any profession, as you sharpen your sword, it always gets sharper.
I think the best thing about this is the access to understanding how to run your business, how to actually be in this filmmaking industry and make money at it. Coming to this workshop, I think, is what actually gets you the tools to understand how to do that, how to get out there and sell yourself.
I thought that was really cool. I thought, he knows all the tricks in the book, and he knows how to show that to us and actually demonstrate it so we actually know what he's talking about.
I really like the hands-on experience. That's something that you don't find a lot. That's something you have to go on set a lot to just appreciate.
I know this is lighting seminar, but it's not only talk about lighting. He also share his business experience, personal experience, and guide us to what we should do, what kind of personality we should have in this business.
His stories, I think that kind of say everything, and a few example stories that he gives out from time to time.
I would recommend this workshop to anybody who just spread into the industry, people who just don't know the swing of it. A lot of this stuff they don't teach you in film school.
I deal with a lot of freelancers every day, a lot of peers that I went to school with, a lot of professionals in the field, and they all need to take this class because it puts you on the next level, on the next playing field.
Burnie's a great guy. Burnie's really authentic. Like everything he learns, everything he teaches, the way he handles himself, the way he deals with other people. He's a one-of-a-kind guy, someone I've never come across before in the industry, and someone I hope to emulate and hope that there are more people like him out there that can help.
Hey everybody, here we are back with Paul Maggetti. Paul, welcome back. You know, we were just talking about it, we were talking specifically of Boston Scientific, and it's kind of, you know, you're with the CEOs and all of that. You know, one thing that is a consistent in our industry was the year, at least out here out in the West, was 2009.
Oh yeah.
And that was something that affected everybody out here. The market crashed so hard, it stopped marketing. And I know for myself and a lot of people, I don't know about you, I always thought we were a little bit economically recession-proof. You know,
You would have thought so.
you would have thought,
Right.
but we were proven wrong.
Well, and here's the thing, as I mentioned earlier about the beginning of my career being really in the automotive industry, we were both feet in automotive.
Yeah.
That was our client base. I mean, we had a few other things, some tech, this and that and the other, but really the lion's share of our work was automotive.
Yeah.
And so when that economic depression hit, car companies either went bankrupt or stopped spending money.
Yeah.
And like gigantic vendors dried up what they could do, so they dropped down a level.
Yeah.
Oh, who's there? Oh, that's us,
Yeah.
right? So now the big companies didn't have the big fish to catch, so they went down, they started catching smaller fish. Well, they were now eating my fish.
Okay.
And so I dropped down, and there was nothing there.
Yeah.
You're a bottom feeder at that point.
Yeah.
And so we got to a point where, everything just stopped.
What do we do?
Yeah, people stopped spending money.
You literally had the income choked off.
Yeah. And so, it's very difficult. I mean, you try to be prepared for that. You always try to have your savings and a buffer and all these different things in place. But if it goes away, it goes away.
Yeah.
You don't get to say, hey, everybody, turn the faucet back on, I'm getting thirsty.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
It's off, and it's off. And so I started making an observation as to where we were as far as what our company did. And we sort of reinvented ourselves. Being exclusively a video production company, I found that a 16-year-old could go down to Best Buy, buy a $600 camera that shot video, and buy a $300 program to edit it, and all of a
come
sudden,
up with some pretty good results.
right. And all of a sudden, my clients were like, "Well, Paul, why do you cost this when this guy costs this?" And I'm like, "Well, he's living in his mom's basement." But they don't care.
No, they don't
all
care.
All of a sudden, the price went down, and I'm like, "Okay, I'm in a situation now where I have to respond." And I don't want to be reactionary. I want to try to be forward-thinking and say, well, what can I do? How can I make this make sense? And because my degree was in theater and film, I'd realized that I was actually ignoring half of my education, which was theater, right? And not that I wanted to go into Broadway, but business theater, which are these big sales conventions, these national dealer meetings, things like that, where in the past we had produced the media that played at the meetings, but we weren't producing the medians. And I found, trying to protect myself and the quality of our work, that sometimes the people producing the meetings didn't have the right gear. We would shoot HD, we would shoot 4K, and they would be projecting an SD.
Yeah.
Or they wouldn't have the colors right. Or the sound volume would be messed up, and it was losing the impact. Because I called my clients, like, how'd the opening video go? They screwed it up, the sound was...
Yeah, so after all that work. Yeah.
So you feel like, okay, well, how can I take control of my work?
Right.
And because my work doesn't go on a movie screen, doesn't go on a television, it shows at these national meetings, I realize we need to be the ones controlling the distribution, essentially.
Right.
So we start producing the meetings. So I take this knowledge and this education I'd had in theater, I marry it to my film background and my understanding of video production, and put the two together. And that's when we sort of reinvented Maggetti Productions into a full production services company. So we have the full solution from here's an idea to how do we get it out to our audience? How do we make our live audience connect with our message?
Right.
And then, and the next step is how do you measure that?
Yeah.
And so you really want to be that for your client so they don't have to run around and figure out, we want them to do this, them to do this.
Yeah.
You
want to be one source.
Exactly. About a year and a half ago, our daughter got married. And we found a venue that it was turnkey.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, we've got catering in-house. We've got a florist here. We've got, this, and it's like...
No-brainer.
And
no-brainer.
So I'm thinking I'm now the corporate customer.
Yeah.
They're now the production vendor.
Right.
And they made my life easier.
Right.
And that's our job.
Yeah.
Is to take what we can do and solve the problems of our clients.
Yeah.
Because our clients have other things to do. They've got a job at their company.
They've got a job that's taking up all of their time already.
And then they throw a video, a meeting, a this, a that at them. And if they know they can pick up the phone and solve their problem and write a check and it's gone,
done.
Yeah, we're problem solvers.
Yeah.
And that's the key. And if you can look at your relationship with your clients that way, if you can really make sense of that you're helping them solve their problems, everybody understands that.
And sort of for you, I imagine now this is a time too where you have a lot of background with these clients too.
Yes.
So you're not an unknown factor walking in, offering these new services and stuff, which is very good.
Right, and like I said, and that was about 2009, so what's that been? It's like 8 years worth of it. So,
right.
Yeah, so it's not like we're just figuring this stuff out.
No. Now you're entrenched and you do it.
Yeah. And we've got a track record with some really big name clients, and we have some great shows, and things will ebb and flow. I mean, there will be a time when we lose a client for no other reason than
they want to move
They're
on.
tired of vanilla Swiss almond.
Yeah,
they
right,
just want another
right,
flavor.
right.
And eventually they'll say, you know, I kind of miss vanilla Swiss almond, and they'll
Yeah,
come back, and that
right.
happens too. And if
Right.
you realize that this is this journey we're on as a career,
Yeah.
is it's going to have bumps, it's going to have peaks and valleys, but if you're doing the right thing, it'll always pay off in the end.
Right.
Like I told you my story about the DP that
Sure.
didn't gel with me very
Yeah.
well. Well, I think about other crew members. I mean, you're one of them, of course. That I love to have them on my crew.
Yes.
Because
yes.
they know me, I know them.
Yeah.
Like it's a given.
Yeah.
It's the shorthand from me to my crew that I want my clients to know. There's a shorthand from me to them.
Right.
The same kind of
right.
thing. So when you bring in the same group of guys and they all gel and they know how to work,
consistency,
and the client sees, oh, Burnie's on your shoot again.
Yeah.
And they know lighting's handled.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
so
yeah.
they know when
they
see
feel
my
okay.
crew.
There's the guy. He did it last
Yeah.
time. He's the pro. He knows
Right.
what he's doing.
Yeah. So familiarity is huge.
Well, and you know, this is one of my big things too. Is you're my client. It's my client's client.
Mm-hmm.
I am trying to help him impress.
Exactly.
And to see that professionalism, you know, that chain of command
Mm-hmm.
going on, that they see me taking orders from you and know
Yes, yeah.
that information is it's not just everybody out doing their own thing.
And that
That's
you don't
really
walk
important.
to them.
Oh, wait,
and go,
yeah.
Hey, Paul, move aside. So would you like this
Yeah.
lighting? You know,
Paul, you're way off base. Hey, you know what? I think I've got a better idea here. No, and which, of course, we know. We joke about it because
Right.
it's the kiss of death,
Yeah.
but we've seen it.
Oh, we've experienced it. And
Yes.
and the thing that you learn the longer you're in this business, and I think any business,
Yeah.
is it's relationships,
Yeah.
and it's respect,
Yeah.
and it's understanding kind of the way of the world.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, not that you need to know your place. I don't mean that you're too low or you're too high or whatever it is, but to understand that it's a machine and you're a certain cog and you've got a job to do.
Right.
And if you try to jump from being a PA to being the DP, and you know,
You're missing too many steps
Yeah,
along the way.
yeah, you just can't do it.
And I think, you know, one of the things that I am really fond of saying to young people, you know, whether they're fond of me saying it to them or not is a whole different story. But it's this, because most younger people, of course, you've spent a long time thinking about the career you want to be in.
Sure.
And if you're in this career, you've probably gone against a lot of headwinds to get in it.
Yeah.
Right? And you want to make an impression, you want to do good, and we all have an urge, especially when we're young, to be the kid genius, right? I want to be the 30-year-old Jaws director, Spielberg. Exactly. So, but what I tell them is that you are at one of the most powerful points in your life when you're a PA.
yeah.
And I'll tell you why. It's simple. You'll already know what I'm
Yeah,
going
I
to
know
say.
where you're going.
But this is the time when you can go anywhere and work with anybody
Right.
and do anything.
Right.
You know, that is something you want to have last as long as reasonably possible.
Well, and everything you learned in school when
Yeah.
you went to get your degree is valuable.
Yeah.
But your first day on set,
Yes.
that will blow your mind.
Yes.
You will learn so much by observing.
Yes.
And when you see how it really works and you understand everybody's role, I mean, I've read so many interviews of actors who've become directors, and they talk, you know, Jon Favreau talked about, he goes, just being on set. When I was young, he goes, I never went to my trailer, right? I would just sit and watch and see how it was done and understand what the director was doing compared to what the DP was doing, compared to what this guy was doing and that guy. And it's like, you can't buy that.
Oh,
you can't. That's an
buy it.
observation that is so valuable.
You cannot buy it.
Yeah.
You know, it's the thing with me, when I was in, and I've told this ad nauseum to everybody knows, so I know you heard it, but when I was a 40-year-old $50 a day PA.
You were worth every penny of it.
I was worth $49.50. I almost made it. I almost made it. But you know what? That was something. First of all, I had to take my ego, my humility, everything, and put it off to the side.
Right.
Because there is no glory in being a 40-year-old man as a $50 a day PA on a set.
Yeah.
But it had the same effect which you just described. Looking at it for the first time with clean eyes and going, what is going on here?
Yeah.
What is this process? I've never seen anything like it. That fascinated me.
And you can afford to stand there and observe
Yes.
at $50 a day.
Yes,
If
you
they
can.
brought you in at a $450,
You better
grip,
be moving.
Yeah, you're not watching.
You better be moving.
You're delivering.
Yeah, but they're expecting something out of you on that.
Exactly, yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
So it's it's a big thing. But
just be an asset. Is
Yeah.
all. I mean, if you're valuable at whatever level you're at, if you're valuable,
you know what
everybody
saved me
wins.
that day? You know what saved me? I had been a mid-level manager for the last 15 years. So I had anywhere from 6 to 100 employees under me at any given time. So I knew a whole lot about time management. I knew about human relations and stuff like that, where just in running a group of people.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
And that can be as simple as like some guy forgot his lunch in his car and now he doesn't. He's PO'd, and everybody. So you buy him lunch. You know what I mean? You make sure the guy gets something to eat.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of things that go into it.
Yeah.
This is the only thing that kept my fascination all these years.
Right. Well, and it is always interesting, and it's always a challenge, and it's always different.
Yes.
And to me, I mean, you're right. I mean, I've been doing it now, 30 years almost.
Yeah.
It's still engaging.
Still
I
engaging.
still love it.
Yes.
And so the fun thing of it is, as we talked earlier about maybe taking a job that wasn't that big a deal.
Yeah.
To me, that's still fun.
Yeah.
Because I've gone on vacation.
Yeah.
And decided I'm going to make a short film.
Yeah.
I was in Rome, and we had a hotel room that looked out on the Pantheon. And I just looked at the Pantheon, and I looked at the wave of people coming through, and I just started shooting. I went down there, I started shooting. I started to follow a story. I tried to see characters. I'm just, you're not directing anyone.
No.
They're just there, but you're trying to observe and find something. And I just shot.
Yeah.
When I got back to the States, I got back to the edit bay. I put the footage in, and I thought, I just found a story.
Yeah.
I just
That's
found a
so
story.
awesome.
I don't know if the Pantheon was the main character. I don't know if the lovers at the end who kissed were the main character.
Yeah.
But there was something there.
There's a story.
And I put that together. Yeah.
And that's those years of training your mind, training your eye, training your storytelling techniques. Yeah.
And if I was, a life insurance salesman,
right,
would I have spent my afternoon off in Rome selling life insurance?
No, you would not have. No.
But I love to make films.
Yeah.
I love to tell stories, and so I'll do it if there's pay or if there's not.
That's awesome.
And so it's just fun.
We're almost out of time, and there's so much I wanted to talk to you about too, and your wife Tricia, because I know you guys have been married for years and years, and you're in love,
It's been a long time.
and all of that, and she's a wonderful person.
I'm with you 100%.
Really, you've got a very, very nice family. I can tell you that honestly.
Well, we're
so,
incredibly blessed, and Tricia's, she's a saint for putting up with everything this industry has, to offer, and
that's really what I wanted to. We don't have the time to do it service, but that was one thing I wanted to talk about: the family. It's rough on your family in this business, and if it's both parties are in the business, it's even tougher, So that's something I know you've not struggled with, but you've focused on and made it work.
It's very much a decision. You are either going to say, my career is number one, and the rest of you can, just trail behind and eat my dust, or you can say, my family is number one. And I'm going to make my career the thing that bolsters my family, the thing that supports us. And so, like I said, when I first didn't have a job, I had mouths to feed.
Yeah.
And did I begrudge that? No.
Yeah.
I use that to motivate myself.
Yes.
Because you have to look at it as a positive. And there's nothing better than coming home and seeing these little tiny baby faces looking up at you going, Daddy, and running across the room, jumping in your arms.
Yeah.
I mean, that's money in the bank.
Yeah.
So, you have to decide what matters to you. And there are people out there who that doesn't matter to them.
Yeah.
And I get it. I respect that.
Yeah.
But for me, it's always been about my marriage and my family.
Yeah.
And trusting that God's going to put me where he thinks I should be.
That's awesome. Paul, thank you so much. Tell us, how do we get a hold of Paul Maggetti, Maggetti Productions? How did you come up with the name Maggetti Productions?
Maggetti Productions. It took a long time.
I took a marketing company, didn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, just go to MaggettiProductions.com, 2 G's, 2 T's, an M and A, an E and an I.
Okay. MaggettiProductions.com.
Yeah, MaggettiProductions.com.
Phone number?
Phone number is 949-282-0011. And our main service in life is to do live event production and all of the media that supports that event.
That is so awesome. Yeah. Paul, thank you so much for taking the time today.
It's been my pleasure, Bernie. Thank you for having me on.
All right, buddy. And we'll see you all next week, Friday, 2 o'clock, Bernie's Applebox. Cut. That's a wrap.